forever, forever. I wanna love you. Will you let me love you forever, forever and a day, 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 day.
What's up, fam? It is Tuesday. It is all about Seeking Sister Wife, Season 4, Episode 6, A Distant Dream. And I'm just going to jump right into it because this episode was, you guys, I just feel like a lot of these couples don't want to be in, well, not couples, thruples, don't want to be in this lifestyle. And it's every episode I'm watching, the more and more I think that. And I don't think I've thought that in any of the previous seasons. So, first couple, the Foleys, Brenda and Steve. As you have heard me say multiple times, Brenda does not want to be in a polyamorous, polygamous lifestyle. She wants her husband to herself, period. And the more I'm learning about her, the more I'm seeing all the insecurities that she has and trust issues and all the things. And when there are children involved, I think that makes a huge difference. And for her to be blaming not only April, but Steve's daughter Jaden in all of this, it just was ugly to me. It was ugly to me. Hey, Crystal, it was ugly to me. So Jaden really went in. She's like, you know what? I don't like this lifestyle. I think it's disgusting. She's totally pissed off. She thinks it's weird that, her parents, original parents, were married and brought in a girlfriend. And after that didn't work out and her mom left, her dad still wants to now get married for a second time and bringing in another girlfriend. And she's like, you know what? I think it's weird. I think it's weird of you to want a 16-year-old to accept this lifestyle. She thinks it's weird for your parents to date multiple people. She thinks it's gross and all the things. She went in, you guys. She went in all the way. And I don't blame her because one of the things that I have an issue with is that Steve's not really explaining what this lifestyle is for him and why he wants to be in this lifestyle. And, as children grow, they're going to have questions and they're going to want to know, like, what's what, who's who, why are you doing this? Especially if it's considered an alternative lifestyle. And he's not really answering those questions for his kids. Plus, he already has a strained relationship with them. So I blame him. Meanwhile, he's like mad, he's angry, he's frustrated because Jaden, says you can either get another girlfriend or you can choose me and I'll see you. But if you get another girlfriend, I just won't visit you. So you need to choose between whether you're going to be in this marriage with Brenda and Brenda alone, or if you're going to go ahead and get another girlfriend. Whatever you choose, whatever makes you happy, I'm fine with that. Which, that's a big ultimatum. Do you choose your kids or do you choose this crazy, not crazy, do you choose this alternative lifestyle? Now, to me, I just think Steve wants to be able to be with whomever he wants to be with. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel. I feel like he's like, you know what? I know I'm married, but I want to have a girlfriend. I want to have the younger, hotter version of whoever my wife is, which is him repeating himself in his history of dating. Krista says, she's 16. Can you imagine her going to school after this? She probably feels embarrassed. The conversation should have happened before they started courting April. 100%. And that's why I say I blame Steve, because he's clearly not communicating with his children what his lifestyle is. And he's not answering the questions that they have because he's not having those conversations. That's why I blame him. I'm like, you know what? The kids weren't comfortable with it back when you were with their baby mama, and they're not comfortable with it now. And you already have a strained relationship with them, and now you're springing this on them. So I don't care if it's been 5 years since you courted someone new. You haven't had the tough conversations with them, and that's why they're confused, and that's why your relationship with them is strained. And so, Jaden's 16, she's confused, she's angry, she has questions, and no one's answering her questions as far as I'm concerned. But Steve's like, this is not fair. She doesn't understand. Well, yeah, she doesn't understand. And you're like, where's all this coming from? This is 5 years of built up, pent up anger and confusion that you haven't rectified. You haven't rectified the situation, Steve. All she knows is that you were married to her mom. You had 2 kids with her mom. Then somewhere in there, when they were young, you brought in a girlfriend, and so she doesn't know. She doesn't understand. And then guess what? Her mom was like, "This is not for me. So if you want to have a girlfriend and be married to me, I'm out." And she pieced out. That is what Jaden knows. And until you explain it and explain whatever it is that you think you're doing here, she's never going to understand it. She's never going to understand it. And it's sad because what I'm seeing is that you have a 16-year-old that has a lot of anger and self-esteem issues. And what I'm looking at is, how they say your dad, as a girl, your dad is your first male relationship. You're going to model how men treat you from how your dad treated you. And there's clear that there's a disconnect there. There's clear that she has trust issues. There's clear that she has questions. There's clear that she has anger. It's clear that she thinks like this whole situation is unfathomable to her. And you, Steve, have not cleared up the situation, period. And so she has all of this stuff. So when you're like, I don't understand where this is all coming from, well, it's coming from years and years of pent up resentment, pent up questions, pent up lack of understanding of what's going on, pent up like, hey, do you love me? All the things that children are going to bring to the table that, Steve, you haven't addressed. And I even see it with your 18-year-old son, Preston. He is so eager to please you. He says he doesn't agree with the lifestyle either, but feels like they need to be open-minded. And why does he feel like he needs to be open-minded? He needs to be open-minded because he still wants to have this relationship with his dad. He still is craving his dad's attention and support and communication and all of the things. So in my opinion, Steve is fucked up. He has 2 fucked up kids and he's not dealing with the issues. That's how I feel. And they're both taking out in different ways. The girl is taking out with anger and hostility and being pissed off at the situation. And the boy is dealing with it by longing for attention, longing for, hey, listen, I'm just going to agree with whatever it is that you want to do. I want to be open-minded because I want you to love me and support me and be there for me. And it's unfortunate to me. I think it's a really crazy situation. Crystal said, the way he handled it, he clearly didn't value the kids' thoughts and opinions. So I see where Jaden's ultimatum is coming from. Yeah, like, you haven't dealt with who should be number one, which is your children. Once you have children, the game changes. And I feel personally that he hasn't dealt with his children's feelings. He's just going by what he wants to do. And not only are Jaden and Preston confused and not sure what's going on, but Brenda doesn't even really want to be in this relationship either. Plural relationship. Even though she came in as a third, she wants her man. And when she talks about, this is my husband, it's clear to me what she really wants is like, you and me to be together, and that's it. But she also doesn't want to lose him, so she's entertaining the fact that he wants another person to be in the relationship. Because all the stuff that Jaden was saying, Brenda just sat there. She sat there because she knew she felt the same way. She knew she felt the same way, and she was like, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to go ahead and let Steve handle this. And Steve, we all know what he wants. He wants to have someone else. He wants to have a girlfriend even though he's married. Now, whether that's polygamy or not, that's what he wants. And that's what he wants to do. Period. So Jaden goes on, to say, you don't love your wife enough, and you need to expand your love, and you want to bring in a girlfriend, and I just don't understand that. And he tries to flip it on her and says, her mind is made up. There's nothing he can do about it. Well, yes, there is, Steve. You have to have the hard conversations that you've been avoiding. You have to have them with your child. And you can't just say her mind is made up. Her mind is not just made up. She's confused and she is upset, and you need to deal with those issues, and you haven't. They go to camera, and he talks about how he wants other women, and he still wants to pursue April, but he doesn't know if it's a good idea now, given what Jaden has said. And body language is everything. Just look at Brenda's body language. A, she didn't say anything, and B, her whole face dropped. Every time she hears her husband talk about another woman, her face drops, because she really doesn't want to be in this relationship like this. She wants her husband to herself. And I'll say it over and over and over and over again, because this is where we are. So you're not really trying to be in a polygamous lifestyle, but you also don't want to lose your man. Then, the other thing that really bothers me about Brenda, you guys, is that she makes herself out like the victim. So they're doing their to camera on the couch, and she's making herself like a victim because she heard what Jaden said, and she just can't believe Jaden's saying all this stuff about their relationship. And they used to call her Brenda Ma Brenda or whatever, and now they don't have any type of relationship. So her feelings are hurt, and she's also upset with April because April and also Jaden make her feel like she doesn't matter. And I was like, this is all your own personal insecurities. I personally think she's older. She thinks that her husband's trying to get a newer, younger, faster, sexier model of herself, and she can't deal with that. And so now she's not only blaming April, the younger, hotter version of her, but also now blaming Jaden, Steve's daughter, for not accepting the lifestyle. And she's the victim. She's the victim. Everyone is making her feel like she doesn't matter. No, you know what the problem is? Problem is, Brenda? You went into a relationship, you stole someone else's man, and now you're worried that someone else is going to steal your man. That's the problem. And so you're carrying all of these insecurities in yourself, and you're projecting it on who you think is the threat. So the threat is anyone that's younger, you perceive hotter or whatever. Those people are the threat to you. So now all of a sudden April's a threat, Jaden's a threat, because what? You never really accepted this lifestyle. You came into it as the young, hot chick, and now your husband wants to bring in a new, young, hot chick, and that's what you're having a problem with. Facts. Brenda, find a therapist and get some friends. That part. That part. Find a therapist, deal with your insecurities, be honest about what you really want out of this relationship, and also get some friends, and get some friends that are age appropriate. You're looking at a 16-year-old and a 21-year-old as if they were on the same maturity level as you, as a 38-year-old woman. Like, just stop it. Stop it. And all the crying and woe is me stuff, it's gotten super old to me. You are not the victim here. You knew exactly what you were getting into, and you thought you would change him, and he's not changing. He wants to be dating, even though he's married, and you came into it knowing it 100%, and you did it anyways. Moving on to the Joneses, Sidian, Tasha, and Arielle. This whole thing was there's a lot of awkward moments for me, at least. I felt like this whole thing was awkward. So Sidian gets to the Philippines. He's en route to the resort to see Arielle for the first time. They've had multiple failed attempts because of COVID to meet each other. So they're finally going to meet each other. And he wants to make sure that the trip is going to go amazing because at the end of the trip, he wants to propose to her because he really wants to grow his family. And in his opinion, this is the closest they've been able to get to actually realizing their plural lifestyle. And so they meet, they embrace. He's like, "You're so beautiful." And she's like, "Oh my God, I'm shaking." Both apparently really excited to see each other, but to me, I just felt awkward energy. It just felt awkward. And I don't know if it's because it's the first time they were meeting each other, but that energy between them was awkward to me. And I couldn't pinpoint exactly how I felt. I just was like, oh, this is super awkward. She talks about how she likes that he's nerdy and tall. He talks about how he likes that there's an instant connection. And it's really, really important to him that this trip goes well because it can mean everything for their family. It means everything to him. It means everything to Tasha. But really, at the end of the day, he's saying, I want it to work out because, again, we're saying we're living this plural lifestyle, but we don't have a third person. And so he finally really does want to have a third person. Um, and so this is the closest that they've gotten to realizing it. And if you guys remember from last season, they did it a bunch of people and they're like, nah, it's not for me. Nah, it's not for me. Nah, I'm good. I'm good. And so this is the first time that it seems like it might work out for him. I don't know. Um, Crystal says, I agree. I think it's him. Last season, he and Tasha went on dates and it was awkward then. Awkward then. It's awkward now. Um, so Arielle says it feels natural, which I just didn't buy. It didn't feel natural to me for them meeting the first time. Um, and they feel like there's an instant connection, all this stuff. I didn't personally see that, you guys, but that's what she said. And so they're sitting, and Sidian's like, hey, we should call Tasha. We call Tasha. And the other thing that was like weird to me, Arielle says, hi, honey, as if they're already in this intimate relationship to Tasha. We're finally together. And Tasha on the other end screams. She's like so excited about it. And I was like, wait, again, either you're really committed to the polygamous lifestyle or you just really are happy that your husband's away. Either way, I'm not sure what it is, but your excitement was bigger and greater than the excitement we saw when these two actually met in real life. Um, so they talk to her for a bit, they hang up. Arielle admits that she's never been in a polygamous relationship before, but she knows that she has met Tasha, really likes Tasha. Tasha is an important person in her life, so she says. Um, and so she thinks that's why she can do this is because Tasha is a good friend, and now Sidian's here, and she's physically attracted to him, right? So they're at the resort, decide to figure out what their sleeping arrangements are that minute. And so they decide that they're going to share a room, share a bed with Sidian, and they don't have a lot of time together, so they really want to make all the time together. Okay, that's fine. Sidian asked for a kiss, and he wanted to kiss in that moment, but again, it was awkward. She's like, well, are you talking about now? Are you talking about later? Because he mentions going to see the sunset and that whole thing. Um, and again, I was just awkward. I was like, well, he's asking because he wants to kiss you right at this minute. But it's clear that you don't want to kiss him right at this minute now. So you guys are going to wait till you go to dinner. You're by the water. It's supposed to be romantic. And then you have your first kiss under the sunset. I get it. You're planning the whole thing out. But right now in this moment, you guys are all making it awkward for all of us. So they have this romantic night under the sunset, the dinner, the ocean, the two of them And again, Sidian for the second time asked for a kiss, and they kiss. They both say it was amazing, amazing first kiss under the sunset, all of this stuff. And I was like, I don't know if I'm buying all of this. I don't know if this is actually what Arielle wants. I really don't know. And I wasn't seeing fireworks. I was seeing like, I don't know, like two people that have been talking for months and months and months. Yeah, they're connecting, but is there that spark? I wasn't seeing it. At least that's me. You guys let me know what you were seeing. And so they were having dinner, and that was another thing that I just thought was like, what resort are you at? They just bring a plate of 3 pieces of chicken. On the side, you see some white rice with like no seasoning, nothing. They bring this, and they're like eating like just, I don't know. It's very like that. What's the word I'm looking for? Like very, I don't know. I don't know. It was just very like, I can't think of the word right now, but old school, I suppose. It was just very, like, are we in the Stone Ages? You're just bringing like 2 pieces of chicken out, and that's your dinner at a resort. You're at this fancy resort halfway across the world, and that's what they're bringing to you. I don't know if I believe it. I don't know, but whatever. They have their piece of chicken, the big piece of chicken. And then they started to talk about like gender roles. Sidian said he watched a bunch of online videos, and that Filipino women love like traditional roles of men and women. The man goes out to work, the woman stays home and takes care of the kids. And Arielle's like, yeah, I mean, there is that here, but I'm not that. I like my independence. And he's like, oh, that's good because, I too like my independence. And I know Tasha likes her independence. And as independent people, we come together, support each other. So whatever it is that you want to proceed and pursue in your life, we'll just support you, all the things. And I was just like, this is a really weird conversation because what is it that you're actually saying? Are you telling her, like, how is this all going to play out? That's what I want to know. Are Sidian and Tasha not actually legally married? That's the part that I can't remember, because if they are legally married, if this indeed works out, how are they actually going to bring Arielle over? And when they bring her over, same as any visa process, they're going to have to support her for some amount of time until she gets her green card. And so what does that look like? Does Sidian now marry Arielle, and Tasha is just like the, not the main, but the first wife, but acting like not the first wife because you guys are not married anymore? Like, how does that work? This whole thing is confusing to me. And so they talk about that a little bit, but they don't really get anywhere. And then he talks about how one of his children is transgender, and would she be comfortable with that? And she's like, yeah, whatever you think is fine. I support you. I support it. And I thought that that was a very surface conversation to have. Like, you're bringing up a major issue, and but yet you guys are not really talking about what the issue is. And she's saying, oh, whatever you think is great, I'm great with. You need to dig deeper, my friend. You need to find out where y'all stand with all of the things, because not only with that, you're going to have to bring in religion, you're going to have to bring in raising children, you're going to have to bring in how you spend money, all the things. So for her to be like, oh, whatever you think, if you're okay with it, I'm okay with it. No, that's not an answer. Um Crystal says it was awkward. She didn't seem comfortable at all sharing a broom closet with him. And I think he was legally married to the first wife, but maybe never got legally married to Tasha. It would have to be a 90-day fiance kind of thing. Facts. And so where does that leave Tasha in the situation, Crystal? I don't know. I just think this whole situation, something is not sitting right with me. I don't know what. The Merrifields, Danielle and Garrett. I mean, is anyone surprised that it didn't work out with Leah? I told you last week we're never going to see Leah again after this little California tryst because they were not compatible since get the jump. We all saw it, we all knew it, but they were trying to pretend that they were trying to do something. And Garrick and Danielle were not trying to do anything with Leah. They were not trying to be with her. They're not trying to pursue her for real as a sister wife. We all knew it. So I just thought that was whole just ridiculous. So they've been back for some months. You know, they've been living in that trailer or camper they call it for 5 months, but now their house is ready to move into. And Danielle explains how it's been a few months since they left Cali. Leah, they try to blame Leah with this. Leah was not keen on balancing work and family life. God forbid she wants to have a career. So, God forbid she's like, oh, I'm going to accept this plural lifestyle, but I also have dreams and aspirations for my life. God forbid it. God forbid she wants to be a nurse and pursue that and she's going to work long hours. God forbid it. She's not balancing out a family and work. Like, I just, you know what? Just stop it. Just stop it. I want to say just shut up, but I'll just say just stop it. So then they said, you know, because of that, the communication dwindled and um Leah finally called and said, you know what, there are too many deal breakers. You know, I feel like in this relationship, I had no choices. I felt like it was not a genuine relationship. She felt like there were not a lot of options or choices. She felt like she didn't have a voice in the relationship. She felt like it was Garrick's way or no way, and that's not how she envisioned what a plural relationship would be like. And I am not mad at her. I'm not mad at her because you know what? She said from the beginning that she wants to achieve some things in her lives. And just because you're in a plural relationship and, you know, Garrett thinks he's the head of the household, so he should be running shit and doing shit and all the things, doesn't mean that she has to put her goals and aspirations to the sidelines. It made no sense to me. And you want to blame her for not balancing work and family? She's a friggin' young ass woman. She's trying to achieve some things in her life and maybe not be financially dependent on anyone. And that should be okay. Why is she being faulted for that? Why? Why is she being faulted for that? Ridiculous. So she goes on to say, you know, it's best we go our separate ways. Garrett says, oh, you know, it is what it is. It wasn't meant to be. Yeah, it wasn't meant to be from the beginning. You all were just playing us and you're pretending that you're interested in this woman who's strong, independent, smart, articulate, and all the things. And also, too, from a completely different lifestyle than you all. But you guys wanted to pretend that you were actually courting her. Like, just stop playing. So, because that broke down, they've decided that they're going to focus their attention on Roberta, and that's where all their intention is going to go. But guess what? That shit's going to fall through too, because Roberta's visa and passport has been approved. She was supposed to pick it up like weeks ago, and she never picked it up. And the window of time where she's supposed to get to the U.S. is dwindling down, and she still hasn't picked it up. And they give all the excuses. She had COVID. She's dealing with a mom that's elderly, that has health issues. She had internet issues. She had cell phone issues. Well, let's just break it down. You guys have been working for how many years to get her here? Because let's be real, Garrick is the one that is in love with Roberta. So much so that he divorced Danielle so that he could sponsor and have that K1 visa for Roberta. And let's not forget all the lies that Garrick told Danielle about sleeping with Roberta, being with Roberta, immediately trying to have babies with Roberta, all the things. And let's not forget how much jealousy Danielle dealt with last season. And all of a sudden, Roberta is kind of on the fence. She's kind of like, I'm good, right? And then we wanted to blame her about being jealous that they were courting Leah and she wasn't into it, all the things. again, I don't think any of these women really want to be in a plural relationship. I think that Roberta wants Garrett for herself, and I think Danielle knows that, and so she's fiending that she's like outraged that Roberta's not there yet, but really she doesn't care because at the end of the day, they ask themselves, what is a plural lifestyle? We don't actually know what it is because we've never done it yet before. We've courted Roberta, but she's not been here. We courted Leah, but it didn't work out. And I think Danielle's fine with that because, again, I think we're in a situation where she doesn't really want to share her husband. And after all the years they've been together and all the things that they've been together, she's really not trying to do all of that. And so if things fall through, she's okay with it. But she's pretending like she plays the game better than Brenda because she's pretending like she's cool and this is cool and we really love and want to see Roberta, but behind the scenes she's kind of like, she didn't pick up her, she's got a couple of weeks to do this, she's got a less than a week to do this, she doesn't do it, oh well, it's not going to work out. Because don't forget, her husband divorced her so that he could bring in another woman. I don't know any woman on this planet that's married that would be okay with that. I honestly don't. Danielle got what she wanted, Garrick by herself, facts, and she hasn't been delivered from her jealousy. Those two, that too is also facts. And so then Danielle gets all upset and to camera says, "Oh, can I take a minute?" And she walks off. And I still don't understand. And some of you, one of you, explain it to me. What is she upset about that she needed to take a minute? Because so much is happening in their life. They're moving, they got two kids, they try to date this what other woman, which they really didn't try to date, and now Roberta is running amok. Like, what is she actually upset about that she needs to take a minute off camera? I was confused by that. Like, what is so bothersome to you that you need to take 5 seconds right now? I'm curious. I really am curious. Bunch of people that don't want to be in the situation they are in. But meanwhile, we have these, in my opinion, selfish men who are pretending that they want to live the polygamous lifestyle, but really they just want to have extra girls. They want to be able to, in essence, to break it down to something super crude, but be able to like fuck around outside of their marriage and call it polygamy and say it's okay. That's what I believe, for at least for these couples so far, because there's not one woman that's really on board except for maybe Tasha. But Brenda and Danielle definitely are not trying to really share their husbands. And that's what's coming across to me. And if you guys are seeing something different, then please let me know. But I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing where these women are fully committed to this lifestyle. They're committed to their husbands and they don't want to lose their husbands. And therefore, they're going with the flow, some better than others. Danielle going with the flow better than, even though it's not great, than Brenda. But Brenda can't hide her facial expressions. She can't hide all her freakouts. Everything's a problem. She's the victim. She's feeling left out. She's feeling alone. She's feeling not appreciated. And it's everyone's fault. It's her stepdaughter's fault. It's the new girl April's fault. It's all the things. No, you need to turn to your husband and really tell him how you feel. That's what you need to do. And until then, you're just playing games and you're not being honest with yourself or with your relationship. Last and certainly least, in my opinion, the Davises, April, Nick, Jennifer, who are courting Danielle. They're on this long weekend trip, all four of them together, to see how it would be to live together and be together on a long-term basis. And, they brought alcohol into the mix. They're doing these drinking games, never have I ever. And I don't know, you guys, it's so lame. Never have I ever skinny dipped, gone to a strip club, faked an orgasm. We find out in this game that Nick says that he's faked an orgasm before. And he talks about how he faked it before, so to the point where he quote unquote splashed lotion on her back. And I was like, what? Wait, what? Who does that? B, how did the women not know? C, I don't believe you, Nick. I don't believe you faked any type of orgasm. I believe you can stick it in any type of hole and get it in where it fits into any woman. That's what you're gonna do. I don't believe it. I don't believe you fake shit. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it for 1 minute. So they're playing this game. Danielle's reluctant to actually answer honestly because she doesn't know if this is a test. She doesn't want to fail the test. So she's kind of just looking around the room, listening to these three play this game, and she wasn't feeling it. Um, then she shares the fact that, she had her last boyfriend. She kind of jumped ship. She didn't really want to be with him. And they took that to mean that she's a runaway if things get serious, and that's something they didn't know about her, so they're going to have to pay attention to that. I'm like, that's not what that means. If she felt like they were not a connection and she doesn't want to be with him long term and doesn't want to marry him, especially at her young tender age of 22, then that's okay. If they never had the conversation of getting married at 19, 20, 21, 22, then that's actually okay. She's super young. So it doesn't make her some runaway type bride or someone who doesn't know how to commit. She's fucking young, y'all. She's gonna want to date. And if she felt like, hey, I don't want to just date this dude for the rest of my life, then that should be okay. Because she's so young. Stupid. 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 So then we start talking about jealousy. And April has dealt with jealousy, especially when Jennifer came on board. Danielle's dealing with jealousy, having to share Nick's affections with April and Jennifer, and she's never been in this situation before. And she's used to a monogamous relationship where the love and affection and attention is only on her, and she's having to share with these two other women. So, yeah, she's feeling like twinges of jealousy, and she's trying to work through that. And again, I'm just going to say to you guys, Nick is the prize. Because again, and still to this day, episode 6, none of y'all have answered. What do the women get? Why is Nick considered the prize? Besides penis, what is he bringing to the table that's so amazing? And the more he talks, the more I'm just like, he really does think that he is the sex object of the situation. Like he's bringing sexual vibes to the situation. So he talks about how he's tough to satisfy. His sex drive is tough to satisfy, especially if he was in a monogamous relationship. Um, and how it would just be impossible for the women to keep up with him. Now, you guys, I'm going to tell you this right now, and I don't mean any disrespect, but when I'm sitting here listening to Nick talk about how he has this crazy sex drive and no women can keep up with him, and that's why he can't be in a monogamous relationship, again, it brings me back to old pimp days where they give you this crazy excuses and expect you to be young and ignorant, frail woman, that you're going to believe whatever shit comes out of his mouth because he's paying you a little bit of attention. But we're in 2022, y'all. Women are advanced, they're strong, they're educated, they're independent, and they can be in a relationship and do all the things, be supportive and loving and caring and all the things. And for him to like say this in 2022 just really fucking pissed me off. Like, who are you? You're in your late 40s. So honestly, your sex drive as a man is on the decline. So don't sit here and tell me that you have such a huge sex drive that the 22-year-old that's sitting beside you won't be able to take your fucking sex drive because you're so all of that. And then, You're saying all of this, you guys, and because I'm that type, right? I'm observant, and maybe you're going to call me petty or whatever, but you're going to sit here to camera and tell me how you have such a crazy sex drive where you have a booger sticking out of your nose? A, that's not sexy to me. B, you sound stupid. C, you sound you live in the Stone Ages. And D, get the booger out of your nose before you're going to try to talk shit to women and say how you're such a God's gift to women. Ugh. Ugh. Made me so mad. So they're finished their drinking game. They're going to go to bed. They want to figure out what the sleeping relationship is. Nick is like, hey, we can all sleep together, as long as there's enough bounce in the sheet because he's had such a great sex drive. But ultimately, it's Jennifer's night to sleep with him. And then the other thing that was like so weird to me is that he's going to spend time with Jennifer and they're going to have sexy time. But as soon as she falls asleep, he's going to then get out of bed and go and have sexy time with one of the other two ladies, not telling her, but her already knowing, because that's how he rolls. And I continue to say, I don't understand why he's the prize. I don't. I don't understand why he's the prize. What is he bringing to the table? Honestly, what is he bringing to the table? He's bringing his penis to the table. Well, any dude can bring their penis to the table. And to be quite honest, any woman can get laid anytime they wanted, period. Did you know that? If you wanted to get laid tomorrow, you could. So what exactly is it that Nick thinks that is so special that he's bringing to these ladies? He don't work. He ain't got a job. He don't drive. He ain't got his own money. He's not independent. He might read some books. He says he's a stay-at-home dad, but really that kid is grown. He's not staying home with anyone. So what is it that you bring to the table besides your penis? Because as a woman, we can get penis anywhere. So what else? What else is there? Are you bringing intellectual conversation? But the sounds of it, when you talk about how it would be tough to satisfy his sex drive in a monogamous relationship, doesn't sound to me like you're bringing any type of intellectual conversation to the table. So what exactly is it that you're bringing? And until I can figure that out this season, you guys, I'm still going to be just talking shit because I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it with any of these dudes so far. Maybe Sidian, but definitely not Steve, definitely not Nick, definitely not Garrick. So, I mean, I don't know. It goes on and on. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching. That was the episode for today. I'll see you guys very soon. Bye for now.